And we are back, the two Sams in Washington, D.C. We're in the Sentinel Fort on midterm election night. A lot of stuff has happened since we last checked in, although nothing, I guess not a lot has happened, but a lot of movement has happened, and we're getting down the wire in states like Florida and Texas with some interesting results in Texas, some would seem to be early disappointing results in Florida. We'll have to find out more. Friend of the show, Kurt, just chimed in that he saw Democrats are winning in 31 House seats right now. The number they need to flip is 21, of course. And we'll get to some more news here, but we've got a guest on the show with us on the phone from you in Massachusetts, Eoin?
I am.
Eoin Higgins, reporter. You've seen him all over the place, most recently in The Intercept. Follow him on Twitter at Eoin Higgins, EoinHiggins. Hey, Eoin. Welcome
underscore.
To the... how could I freaking forget the underscore?
Never forget the underscore.
I can't believe I forgot the underscore, but Eoin, it's good to have you on the show.
Guys, good to be here.
So what's your read early on? It's only been, I guess, 3.5 hours since polls closed in Indiana and Kentucky. And what are you thinking?
Yeah, so I wasn't paying a whole bunch of attention to the national races immediately because I am here at a DA race watch party in Massachusetts for Andrea Harrington, who was the Democratic nominee, ran a reform campaign, won the primary against the incumbent. People can look at my Twitter feed for the whole story. It's kind of complicated, and there's a lot of some, backhanded dealings. But basically, she won the primary, and then the incumbent decided to mount a write-in campaign. It looks like she has pretty resoundingly defeated him. So that's what I was doing for the first hour and a half, 2 hours. Since then, I've been looking at the numbers coming out, and I don't know. I thought that it was going to be a lot bluer, I guess, than it has been already.
Well,
but I'm kind of looking at the New York Times projections, so I don't really, they're not always the quickest.
There are some disappointments so far, thinking of Gillum in Florida, thinking of Kemp's lead in Georgia, but there are also some surprises. Beto O'Rourke proving that he's putting up a fight. I have to admit, I thought he would lose by double digits at the start of the night, and that all the Beto O'Rourke talk was a bunch of
he's hanging in a lot longer than I thought he would.
Hot air. He's doing himself pretty well tonight, and we had intern Nate, who's not on the air, but
is it a critical alert or no?
It's not a critical alert per se. I also don't have full verification. Intern Nate says Fox News thinks that Democrats will keep the or will take back the House. Excuse me. So, there's still a lot of chips to fall, I guess.
Yeah, that is disappointing about Gillum. Not least because DeSantis is an out-and-out white nationalist, and did not really even pretend not to be during the campaign.
Yeah.
As far as Beto goes, I mean, I think that, really it would be a mistake to, before the results even came in, to underestimate how loathsome Ted Cruz really is to a large amount of people. I mean, he's just really not well liked, and I think that if Beto wins, obviously he ran a pretty impressive campaign for Senate in Texas, helped by the millions and millions of dollars that he had come in.
Yeah.
And I think that if he wins, I mean, I think that I think if he wins, you have to give a lot of respect to the fact that, a Democrat won in Texas against an entrenched incumbent with a national profile. But
a huge win.
At the same time, I mean, that's a big win. So.
Yeah, I mean, Ted Cruz probably would have won the Republican nomination in 2016 had Donald Trump not run, but if anyone could have lost to Hillary Clinton, Ted Cruz certainly could have. But either way, it's amazing to see such a fall from grace. If in fact such a rapid fall from grace, if in fact Ted Cruz does end up eating shit tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much of that like you can pin on the fact that Trump just destroyed him during the 2016 race. I mean, just.
Yeah, no,
Sorry, go ahead.
that's a very good point. I mean, it's it might not be so much Beto O'Rourke as the fact that Ted Cruz was totally humiliated and is submitting to the ongoing humiliation of himself.
Yeah.
By totally being down with Donald Trump, who he once looked in the camera and said, stay the hell away from Heidi, my wife, or whatever, and he didn't. And
just interesting note about that moment, though. That moment coincides with my favorite moment of the entire 2016 primary, which is when like Ted Cruz like said that to the gaggle of reporters who was around him. And like just was like, I'm being very serious here. And like MSNBC's Hallie Jackson like immediately was like, would you still support him for president? And he's like,
I will be the nominee. He will not be the nominee. Yeah. He was the nominee.
Oh, and we've been highlighting
he was.
Ted Cruz as like one of our dream people to lose tonight. What do you think the chances are that Steve King falls later? Put on your pundit hat here.
I don't know, man. I mean, I screwed up the 2016 predictions so bad. I don't want to give anybody the kiss of death by me saying that they'll win. The numbers coming out of Iowa looked good. In the closing moments of the campaign, looked like he was increasing. Schulten was making a good play for King's seat. I don't know if that's going to be enough. King really didn't know what he was up against, and it all kind of happened pretty quickly. I can't remember where I heard this, but somebody was saying, I don't know, it was on the radio or maybe it was you guys, but that King's like only campaign ad was like a year old, or like from the last cycle. Like
no, that wasn't us.
He was just totally blindsided. He got into the TV game like a week ago, but like the ad he had was from like 2 or 3 years ago. So it's possible that King could go down. That'd be really great.
Sir, stop it.
Can we pause one moment for a critical alert?
Oh, we've got a critical alert here.
We've got a critical alert. We have to do this critical alert. Breaking AP Politics predicting that Republican Jackie Walorski will win re-election to the U.S. House in Indiana's 2nd Congressional District.
Took her long enough. This was a race we had been watching in Indiana.
It would have been a stretch for Dems to win. I guess they can take comfort in the fact that it's 3 hours and 40-ish minutes since polls closed in Indiana, and it took Jackie Walorski that long to win.
Yeah, and last time we checked, Joe Donnelly is really struggling against Mike Braun there.
Oh, they called it already.
Oh, they've already called that.
Do you want to do a critical alert for that?
Oh, okay.
Actually,
I guess it sort of defeats the purpose, but we got to get in the habit of doing it.
We got to get. Joe Donnelly has lost.
Joe Donnelly has lost. Don't act like a fascist, dummy.
Yeah. In the
last week of the election, don't try to out-fascist Mr. the President.
We covered this on the show about that classic moment in the debate where Joe Donnelly was trying to praise the people of color who work for him on his staff, and he just kept on just fucking being racist. He's like, I have a black woman who works for me, but she is good.
Oh God, yeah.
Against all odds.
Yeah. That was really bad. That was really bad. Quick critical alert here.
Whoa.
This one going around. Speaking of punking officials here, Jared Polis is going to be elected governor of Colorado. best known, he's a good advocate for marijuana reform, one.
He is.
Best known in my eyes for punking the DEA administrator, Michelle Leonard, in congressional testimony when she claimed that all the drugs are just as bad as pot. Heroin, meth, all the drugs.
By the way, we are approaching critical alert. This is not quite a critical alert, but we're getting there. And I have some very good news to report, which is Dave Bratt is on the ropes. He is down by 0.6 of a percentage point, losing to Abigail Spanberger in his district. 96.9% of precincts are reporting.
Wow.
There are 7
Knock
precincts
that
left.
motherfucker out.
Dave
Yes.
Bratt, whatever. May as well call him Bratt because he's a fucking fascist because of German.
Dave Bratt featured on the Up Against the Wall list. We have added the red X to Barbara Comstock in the bottom right-hand corner.
Just to reiterate, Steve Bannon campaigned for Dave Bratt.
Didn't like 12 people show up for that?
That was Bannon coming to Kansas, I believe. That was where few people.
Hey, Owen, I want to ask you in just a second about a piece you've got up at the article, but first, Murder Brian is in the chat room right now talking about how he wishes he was streaming for the show. First, welcome to the show. I heard you. He said he spent 4 minutes voting and it was bullshit. But Brian, if you want to call into the show later, maybe sometime in the 10 p.m. hour or 11 p.m. hour, let us know. We can bring you on in the same way we're bringing Owen on.
Speaking of Brian.
Yeah, Brian, do it.
Brian from the great state of Ohio, the Buckeye State. And last I checked there, not going so well for Richard Cordray, who we had mentioned earlier. Sherrod Brown, he's won. He's predicted to win.
Sherrod Brown.
He's got it. But Mike DeWine right now up 8 percentage points on Cordray. 55.9% of precincts are reporting. So Cordray has it all to do.
Who is Richard Cordray? No, okay. Owen. So what do you got published in the? What's up? You got to go or what?
Can I just say something first, though?
Yeah,
go for it.
All right. So I just want to say this, and so this is going to be kind of somewhat out of character for me, but I do want to say that I don't think that a lot of these Democratic losses that we're seeing that are disappointing. Not all of them are solely the fault of the party being unable to get its shit together. Like so many of them are about voter suppression and enthusiasm.
And are you there, Owen? Have we lost you?
Might be good and might not have done it. But I do want to say that somebody like Joe Donnelly should have learned from like the aughts that you don't beat these guys by just becoming them, because then voters will just vote for the real Republican.
Yeah. I mean, that's been something that's been advice for like 50 years now, and it looks like it's going to work out for Joe Manchin, though.
Yeah, can we get a critical? Well, we don't need a critical alert. AP is
Joe
predicting
Manchin
that.
Just call
yeah,
it. I don't even want to do a critical
we won't do
alert
a critical
for Joe
alert
Manchin.
for Joe Manchin, but just know that the AP has predicted Joe Manchin.
Well, on our list
re-election.
of, to be honest, wouldn't mind seeing them go. We've got Joe Donnelly gone, Joe Manchin staying. It's on Claire McCaskill. Get us a Claire McCaskill update when you get a chance, Sam Knight.
Will do.
All right, Owen. What's going on? What'd you publish in The Intercept recently?
Yeah, so today I published a piece that was kind of looking at polling and how polling isn't like the only way to predict outcomes. Two researchers, Kristen Johnson and Bobby Constantino, reached out to me, and they donor information from the FEC, and you plug it into Google Maps.
Hey, Owen, can I get you just back up
Yep.
15 seconds? We lost you for about 5 seconds there at the start of that.
Mm-hmm.
About the researchers reached out to you and what?
Yeah, so what they found was that if you take the donor information from the FEC for a lot of these races, you kind of plug it into maps so that you can see where the donations are coming from. A lot of the time the polls will miss the fact that, not in all of these cases, but in some of these races, there's a lot of donations coming from low-income areas. And that because these people are traditionally underserved by polling, there can be possibilities that that polling is missing major percents of the voting public. And mostly you saw this in the primaries. The Ayanna Pressley victory against Mike Capuano in Massachusetts. She was down in the poll like 3 weeks before the election by 13% and then won by 18%. But if you looked at where the donor information was coming from, like they just weren't really looking at the lower income neighborhoods and expecting them to turn out the way that they did. And so what we did was we kind of just took that and then looked at the Stacey Abrams, Brian Kemp race, which at this point kind of looks like maybe that wasn't exactly what we thought it was. But to say that, it was possible that we might see like some major turnout for Abrams in these low income neighborhoods, which could have put her over the top. I think, however, the voter suppression there probably took care of that.
Yeah, it's so in your face with everything that Kemp has been doing there that with Abrams, it's hard to sort of just roll your eyes and be like, oh, classic Dems, when there's so many fucking dirty tricks going on.
Yeah, we talked about this at the beginning of the show. Even I was surprised by how blatant it's gotten in Georgia.
Can we pause? We got a critical alert.
We got a critical alert. Of course, we can always pause for a critical alert. Hold on as I stall while I get the graphic up for our critical alert.
AP Politics predicting Democrat Debbie McCarcel Powell wins election to the House.
That's a flip.
In the 26th Congressional District. That's a flip. Curbelo out.
So the number of seats to flip the House has now gone down to 20. We're still waiting on Dave Bratt here to lose.
We are still waiting on Dave Bratt. I got to say, though, I'm looking at some of the returns from New Jersey, and Dems are not doing as well as they might have hoped. Possibly in Pennsylvania. That said, there is a lot of room for them to come back. I'm looking at one race in suburban Philadelphia, the 1st Congressional District. Brian Fitzpatrick leading by 1.8 percentage points. That said, very early, 16.8% of precincts reporting there. But there's another race in New Jersey that has me a little worried. If I can just pull it up here, it is in I believe, the 3rd district. It was a toss-up, according to Politico, and the Democrat, last I checked, not doing very well there. If I can just delay as I find my bearings here on the scrolling. Tom MacArthur. So this was a toss-up, okay? This was a toss-up. Tom MacArthur is leading Andy Kim 61.8 to 36.1. This is New Jersey's 3rd Congressional District. Those aren't toss-up numbers. 34.1% of precincts reporting. So not looking good there. There are other flip opportunities. Leonard Lands is holding on against Tom Malinowski.
Go ahead. Are you from New York?
I'm not looking at New York at the moment. Shall I pull it up?
Yeah, I'm just wondering about 19, 22, 21, and 23.
19 is Tenney, is it not? Yeah, Tenney, nothing in yet.
No, 22 is Tenney.
Oh, 22 is Tenney. Nothing in for Tenney yet. 19... Let me get a second here. It's still early. Yeah, nothing in. Faso Delgado is 19. Yeah, that's right. Nothing in there either. A lot of these states, I don't know. It's trickling in. We might be in for a late night, folks. We said at the start of the broadcast.
Well, it's good because we've got guests lined up. Maybe we might have Murder Brian calling in a little later. We've got intern Nate lined up later. But go ahead, Owen.
So nice segue into just one other thing I wanted to plug before we part ways here.
Yeah, you're at a party. We'll let you get back to your party here in a little bit. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm at this. So I wrote this piece yesterday for Sludge on how Paul Ryan had to get called in to come raise money for Faso, and which are the races that I was asking about. So Faso, Delgado, and Tenney Brindisi are very, very close. NRCC, Paul Ryan's Protect the House PAC, or I think it's Protect the House. I can't remember which one it is, but are pouring money into there into negative, or we're pouring money into negative ads. The thing that I think wasn't really reported, and I'm not really sure how it's going to play out, is that Kako and Stefanik, who seem to be like easy Republican holds, were outraised by their opponents in the third quarter.
Huh.
So interesting to watch what's going on there, because it is like upstate New York is kind of weird. Like it is pretty Republican, but at the same time, there have been a lot of more left-leaning and liberal people who have moved up to that area, especially in like the last decade. So it'll be interesting to watch if Kako and Stefanik like easily win re-election, if it's close, or if they get flipped, which I think is probably not that possible, although you never know.
Well, I'm sitting here. I'm looking at the stupid Politico website, waiting for these New York results to come in. And hey, can't you see I'm waiting here?
They took the metro in.
Hey. They took the.
We've got people here in the chat room, Owen, talking shit about the Red Sox. Can't see that, Kurt.
That the Red Sox are bad?
They wanted me to ask you about the Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean,
You got anything to say?
We are talking about Republicans, I guess. So. What's that?
There it is.
There it is.
Well, we'll have intern Nate on later to respond to that. Owen, Higgins, I'll let you get back to your party here. You want to plug any stuff before you go? Anything else?
Nope. I just think people want to read the Sledge piece and the Intercept piece. They're both up there, and I have a thread that I just posted with the election results here for the DA of the reporting I've done on that. So if you want to check that out and kind of see what happened in this small part of rural Western Massachusetts, then they can check out that reporting.
There it is. Owen Higgins. You can see his Twitter handle on the screen, EoinHiggins_. Hey, thanks a lot for coming on the District Sentinel's midterm election night coverage.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, we are out there.
It's are we ready for a critical news?
We can be ready for a critical alert right now.
Critical alert. Politico reporting that the 5th congressional district of Pennsylvania has been flipped by Democrats. Mary Scanlon has defeated Pearl Kim 60. Well, it's ongoing right now. It's 61.1 to 38.9. No way back for Pearl Kim, according to Politico. That is a flip for Democrats in the state of Pennsylvania.
Boom, the blue wall.
The blue wall slowly.
Do we have an update yet on Dave Bratt?
Rebuilding. An update.
I'm really
on
itching
Dave
to
Bratt.
put an X on his name here.
I will look at that for you. I will say that looking briefly at the state of Kansas, and Democrats doing very well there. Kevin Yoder, the incumbent, he is losing to Sharice Davids, 53.2 to 44.7 early, 23.4% of precincts reporting. Davis had been expected to win. That was a lean Dem, but better news looking up to the 2nd district. That's a toss-up, and Dems are winning right there right now. Paul Davids is beating Steve Watkins, 51.6 to 43%. That was held by a Republican who is retiring. Now, back to the Commonwealth of Virginia, and Dave Bratt still losing by 0.6%, 0.6 of a percentage point, and 3.1% of precincts left to go. So I honestly can't remember if if we're waiting for fewer precincts or not. But Dave Bratt, nothing looking better for him at this point. So that's good.
That is good indeed. I was curious. I was looking in Missouri here for Claire McCaskill, looking for an update on Claire McCaskill's race here.
Can you hit me with a critical news alert thing?
Sure.
Hurry up.
Hurry.
This is critical.
It's
Breaking
critical.
AP Politics reporting that predicting Democrat Connor Lamb wins re-election. That's big because he was also up against another incumbent, Keith Rothfuss, in the 17th district of Pennsylvania in the suburbs of Pittsburgh. So that was a weird situation where you had two incumbents facing off because of the redistricting. And the Democrat has prevailed. Connor
that
Lamb.
is a flip, right?
That is a flip,
well,
my friend.
So we had 20 to flip, and then we came in with someone, I forgot who, but we're basically down to 18. We'll just jump it down to 18. Democrats need 18 more.
We'll definitely
the
next time we take a break, we will definitely double check on our flip count.
I think we're there. Where are we at?
Kurt says 15.
15. How about this? We at the Sentinel are ready to mark it down to 16. We'll hold off on going down to 15 just yet. Hold off on going down to 15.
We'll have to double
check. What time is it? It is 9:59 p.m. right now at the 10 o'clock hour. We've got Iowa Steve King watch begins at 10 p.m. everyone. Iowa watch. Montana, North Dakota, Oregon, Idaho, Utah, and Nevada coming up at 10 p.m.
Nice Nevada pronunciation. It's not just Steve King.
It's because I fucked up Oregon, as I was saying, and I made sure to get Nevada right.
It's not just Steve King who's on the ropes. We've got David Young in the 3rd district. Rod Bloom or Blum. Is it Bloom or Blum? BLUM. Rod is his first name, and he might be facing the rod of vengeance from the voters, who might choose Abby Finkhauer over him. So 3 possible seats for Democrats to pick up. Another thing to look out for, though, I wouldn't expect it. Greg Gianforte, the Montana at-large congressman who body slammed Ben Jacobs, who sucks for other reasons, not related to the body slam, but Gianforte, he was a likely R at the start of the night, so he was an outside shot for Dems to unseat him very shortly after he first won re-election. I don't think it's going to happen. Either way, we'll find out soon. Montana closing at 10. Possible pickup for Democrats in Utah because Mia Love, the only black Republican woman in Congress, might lose.
Yes, Mia Love featured in the zines against the wall here. What's the deal with Pete Sessions up against the football player here? One of the races we've been watching.
Pete Sessions
down in Texas.
That is a very good
question. Also on the wall.
Pete Sessions was having some struggle sessions, and it looks like he still is, if I can just readjust this here. Still early, according to Politico, but he's down 5.6%, 52.4. No, I miscounted. 6.4. Anyway, Colin Allred winning 52.4% to 46. Still early. 7.4% of precincts reporting.
Okay. I think this is a good stopping point for now. What do you think?
There is. I will give you this update, though, because we're on Texas, a Houston area district where Republican incumbent John Culberson is losing to Lizzie Fletcher, 52.2 to 47.8.
I believe Mr. Culberson is on the wall, too.
I think he is on the wall.
He is on the wall. Is there any quick update out of Florida in the gubernatorial race? I mean, we aren't focusing too much on those, but I just hate Ron DeSantis so much.
That's true. I just want to note that the AP, no critical alert for this because there's no surprise, AP calling Utah in favor of Mitt Romney. So Willard Mitt Romney is heading to the United States Senate.
He's coming to D.C.
It's official.
Mitt Romney coming to D.C., folks.
All right, let me give us one last update on Florida, then we will cut to a break here. And I'm about to sneeze, so let's. I'm good. There appears to be kind of a stall in terms of the precincts reporting because Scott Nelson is at what it was before, 50.4 to 49.6, and Gillum still down a percentage point to DeSantis. But as I was saying to you earlier, They're not all precincts, most but not all precincts in Leon County, which is Andrew Gillum's home county. That's where Tallahassee is located. Still waiting for some of those to come in.
So still could be a lot of movement in that race.
Still waiting in Alachua County, which is in a sea of red, but going for Gillum. Still waiting for a few around Orlando and the Tampa area and West Palm Beach and Miami. So obviously this thing has not been called for a reason.
All right.
And we're waiting on that.
We'll have more. We'll have more on that later. Lots more coming up with the Sentinel boys in Washington D.C. live midterm election night coverage. Maybe we'll have Brian Quimby on the show later.
Maybe.
Intern Nate's coming on the show later. Stick around. We're gonna take a break, recharge the batteries. We're in D.C., so you don't have to be.